from the research, from the evidence, this is what my interpretation of positive child youth development is. It's about teaching kids about fair play. It's about goal setting. It's about outcome based. It's more than just technical and physical. And it's based around what we call the 5 C's: competence, caring, confidence, connection, and character. So if I just elaborate a little bit more on some of that. I mentioned at the start, we talked about in previous weeks about the values and the morals that we want young kids to develop through their participation. It won't just happen. If you're an autocratic coach and you're a disciplined coach and very prescriptive, and it's about winning and it's about performance and it's about physical fitness, the persona that you portray will influence how kids develop and the morals and the values that they develop likewise. If you're a coach who is caring and considerate and empathetic, you teach kids about responsibility and resilience, then the values that they develop and are instilled in them are going to be likewise. So things like fair play, you have to teach kids about fair play and honesty and integrity, working together. It's about goal setting with kids. Kids aren't just going to become the best performers. They're not going to achieve something straight away. You need to give kids little goals, achievable goals, short-term goals. I think sometimes I always use the example, if I'm teaching kids about fundamental movement skill. So for example, we all assume children can throw a ball. Now, throwing a ball is probably one of the most complex movement skills that you can do. But do we ever teach kids how to throw? No, because we assume that they can do it. And yet if you take the skill of throwing, it can probably be broken down into 20 prerequisite parts that build up the whole skill of throwing. And we'll talk about this more when we go into the next assessment. But if I use little goals for kids and say, right, if you can do this first and then build up to the next stage, and then obviously it's going to give kids motivation, it's going to give kids confidence, they realise they can achieve something. If I just judge them on throwing straight out and assess them and they can't do it, and I don't give them any incentives and feedback and little goals to help them improve, then obviously they're going to become demotivated, disengaged, and lack confidence. So it's about goal setting and achievement and attainable goals, which ties into the next area, which is outcome based. Are we too obsessed on what we achieve as the outcome? And do we need to look more at the process to get to that outcome? I think a lot of the time it's, again, if we take, throwing as an example, the outcome is, can I throw a ball? Now, the process to get to that stage is all the little stages that will allow a child to be competent in throwing a ball. It's not just about technical and physical. So positive youth development and the development of life skills is about creating environments where kids can develop social skills, they can develop emotional skills, they can develop psychological skills. And that ties into the next bit, and some of you might have seen this if you've done the Football Association coaching courses. It's a big emphasis at the minute on sort of life skill development, positive skill development, positive youth development through the Football Association. And they focus on 5 key areas, which is called competence, caring, confidence, connection, and character. So competence, if you're good at something, if I know I can catch a ball, if I know I can throw a ball, then I become more competent. And if I'm more competent at doing something, I'm more likely to engage and stay engaged in something. And we all know with kids, if they don't see themselves as competent, they're going to judge themselves against their peers, and they're going to look at their peers and say, he or she is far better than me. I'm not as good as them. And if they don't see themselves as competent, then it's going to impact on their self-esteem, it's going to impact on their confidence, and they're probably more than likely going to drop out. It's about developing things like, character and connection, care and confidence. And again, if you look at the evidence in the paper that I put on Blackboard, it'll give you a little bit more information around those. Now, for you guys as coaches, to allow positive child and youth development to happen, you need to create the right environment. And again, that doesn't just happen, does it? For kids to thrive, for kids to engage, for kids to be motivated, they have to have a proper coaching, teaching environment where they feel physically and psychologically safe. Things like supportive relationships. So you as a coach are empathetic towards them. You support them, you challenge them, you question them, you listen to them. Belonging, opportunities to belong. If a kid turns up for your school practice and you don't allow them to engage and you don't involve them, then they don't feel part of it. They don't feel part of the lesson or part of the team. So hence, they're not going to engage. You develop positive social norms around some of the things we talked around last week, around safeguarding and ethical practice. Opportunities to build skill. Previous slide, we talked about short, achievable, attainable goals. So positive child and youth development is around creating the right environment that allows these life skills to thrive and develop. And that's what football coaches going into primary schools or football coaches going into communities can offer. And again, if you can articulate that to head teachers and say, well, I'm not just a football coach coming into your school environment and I'm just going to deliver a football session. I'm going to deliver multi-skill sessions that will teach kids about social norms, will teach them about relationships, will teach them about a sense of belonging. I'm going to teach them about emotional development, about character building. And all of a sudden, the head teacher is going to think, well, great, this coach is going to come in and develop not only their physical education, but they're going to start to build their character. They're going to build and develop life skills. And that's what teachers want to hear. And that's the benefits, the far-reaching attributes that you as football coaches can develop in young children.